I know I start every video on this topic with the same sentence, but it cannot be emphasized enough. Ubisoft really needs Assassin's Creed Shadows to succeed, and it feels like at every turn there's just something that makes that more difficult, more of an uphill battle. We all know about the current status of Ubisoft with its financial woes, its stock price dipping to record lows, and investors being quite unhappy with Ubisoft and its executives and their course of actions. There's a potential of a sale with Ubisoft going private, so on and so forth. And expensive releases like Avatar Frontiers of Pandora did not do as well as they should have. Star Wars Outlaws did not do as well as it should have. The live service X Defiant recently got shut down. Assassin's Creed Shadows, this is it. This is do or die. And this has gone through a rather tumultuous PR cycle with numerous delays, in large part to polish up the game, which is never a bad thing, but also elements of historical accuracy being an issue with the backlash surrounding that. The developers are apparently trying to rectify some things, though it doesn't change some of the negative PR that they've drawn because of things like using a real-life reenactment group's flag in the game. And so they had to apologize for that and remove that from the title. And then beyond that, one of the promotional materials was this figurine that utilized the symbolism of a one-torii gate, which is a real thing in Japan, except it symbolizes the atomic bomb that dropped in Nagasaki. It's a surviving structure of that dark incident. So that was just kind of in really poor taste. And then most recently, I talked about how this clip went viral of how players can go into shrines and just wreak havoc, and shrines being kind of a culturally very important part of Japan. This kind of drew the ire of certain crowds as well as the ire of officials from Japan. So right here is an article from Sankei that was translated by Automaton here, which talks about how real-life Japanese shrine officials are taking action over Ubisoft's portrayal of religious sites because the shrines represented in Assassin's Creed Shadows are not fictional, but real-life shrines. So, for example, players can enter the Itate Hyozu shrine, and they can destroy elements of it, such as its altar and various sacred objects. And so officials of the Itate Hyozu shrine kind of spoke out and said that they're not about this, that they will be taking appropriate action, though they didn't detail exactly what that was. And when asked if Ubisoft had given them any sort of notice or asked any sort of permission or approval, they said no, and if they had contacted us, we would have refused permission to represent the shrine in such a way. As if Assassin's Creed Shadows hadn't taken enough of a beating from that, now the game is facing what is essentially the worst case scenario, what is a nightmare scenario for Ubisoft, in the form of the entire game, literally having leaked a month early. People have been able to gain access to physical copies that have allowed them to play the game, to record videos, to stream it, and to post that stuff online. This was reported by news outlet The Gamer in an article titled "People Are Playing Assassin's Creed Shadows a Month Early." Scrolling down, you'll find details about how, for example, you have this Twitter user, Danny Stevens, who shared they had a physical copy earlier this evening showing a picture of the box art and the installation screen on PlayStation 5. And then furthermore, to further prove that this is a legit copy, they shared images and videos of the game in action. Now, Danny Stevens, RIP, he is no longer with us on Twitter. His account got nuked. Ubisoft is getting on this pretty hard. It should come as no surprise that Ubisoft is copyright striking any Assassin's Creed Shadows related content that comes from this leak. But yeah, it wasn't just this one Twitter user. You've got people online who have been able to point out that on certain gray marketplaces, they've been able to find copies readily available. So, for example, Twitter user Danny Stevens got their copy from Facebook Marketplace. You've got this marketplace, Mercari, where you can find listings for physical copies of Assassin's Creed Shadows. So right here we have a screenshot of one such listing showing somebody with multiple copies of Assassin's Creed Shadows. They sold them at $100 per copy, and those copies have since sold out. So these are out in the wild, and we're already starting to see folks leak content online. So, for example, Video Games Chronicles spotted 2 Twitch streams showing the game. one of which was still available as an archive recording at the time of writing. I have a feeling that as of right now, that recording has since been copyright struck and removed, but that's not stopping folks from sharing their impressions of Assassin's Creed Shadows via text form on forum posts like this one on Reddit. This is from an individual who knows somebody who managed to get an early physical copy of the game. Now, it's worth noting that the build of the game that's in the discs is an older build, as highlighted here, noting how none of the delay improvements have been added yet. It is an extremely old build, can't even redeem the deluxe outfit codes. When it comes to physical copies, discs have to be printed weeks before the game's launch, which is why the content there is outdated, so we can likely expect day one patches that will address a lot of issues that exist in this current build. So it's worth noting that folks who are playing leaked copies of the game are not playing the best version of the title, the final version of the title, though apparently even this older build, based on what the individual who played the leaked copy of Assassin's Creed Shadows has played, the game is well polished overall with no glaring bugs or glitches 10 to 11 hours into the game and the campaign. There's also ample proof that this individual did in fact manage to get a hold of an early physical copy of Assassin's Creed Shadows with plenty of photos and videos and screenshots of the game in action. Though I believe Ubisoft has already taken steps to nuke these, as when I click on these, they don't show anything. But yeah, it is undeniable that Assassin's Creed Shadows has leaked in its entirety through physical copies that are not final, but with all of the game ultimately in there. And Ubisoft itself confirmed this in this Twitter post that was published on February 24th, 2025, that reads, "Hello everyone, we are aware players have accessed Assassin's Creed Shadows ahead of its official release. The development team is still working on patches to prepare the experience for launch, and any footage shared online does not represent the final quality of the game. Leaks are unfortunate and can diminish the excitement for players. We kindly ask you do not spoil the experience for others. Thank you to our community for already taking steps to protect everyone from spoilers. Stay in the shadows, avoid the spoilers, and keep an eye on our channel for more official surprises in the coming weeks. March 20th will be here soon." It goes without saying that leaks like these are incredibly damaging to the companies involved and the development team who wanted the game to be experienced by everyone uniformly in a very specific and tailored way in, the final form, which is not what the game is in right now, combined with the fact that spoilers are bound to make their way out. And so there's the potential of folks being less interested in the game because they're going to get spoilers about the story. On top of that, you've got the possibility of folks being able to pirate the game early, with the ability to play a game like this a month before everyone else can being a pretty strong incentive for folks to pirate the title. There's also the fact that word of mouth will spread about a non-final build of the game, so we might be seeing people talk about issues with the game that may not be present in the final version when the day one patch is applied, and that might further disincentivize certain folks. And so all of this is ultimately very damaging for sales, for PR. Now, on the other hand, you might get posts like these that are overall very positive about their impressions of this early build of the game that they've played, saying that this is, in their opinion, the best Assassin's Creed game since Black Flag for this individual personally, saying that the game has lived up to the hype and it feels like Ghost of Tsushima with an Assassin's Creed feel with better stealth, with some complaints here and there. But people can also go and watch gameplay online that's leaked, and they might be seeing problems and issues that may make them kind of stay away from the game, and those issues might have potentially been fixed if the footage was representative of the fully updated and patched version of the final game. So it's all just really not good news across the board, and this kind of event that can potentially negatively impact sales for Assassin's Creed Shadows is the last thing that Ubisoft needs, this company that is so heavily relying on Assassin's Creed Shadows to do gangbusters, for them to recover from the rut that they found themselves in due to myriad failed projects, myriad releases that have failed to meet financial quotas, due to myriad delays and due to troubled developments for certain projects, due to them laying off a bunch of folks and just kind of tackling things in that very business-minded fashion that's very much about short-term thinking, short-term financial gain, pleasing investors. I'm very curious to see how negatively this will all ultimately end up impacting the sales of the game. Though this is still Assassin's Creed, an Assassin's Creed set in feudal Japan, and Assassin's Creed just, it sells. No matter what you think about it, it is a series that sells on a mass mainstream level, and so it's still possible that the game will do well, but given how much is at stake with Assassin's Creed Shadows, it needs every advantage it can get, and at every turn, it feels like this game has stepped on a rake. It feels like at every turn, it's seen just negative PR that doesn't do it any favors. I suppose we'll find out in time how all of this plays out. I hope that when I play the full game, it's better than my 4 hours impressions kind of had me feel about the game. I enjoyed aspects of its mechanical improvements when it comes to moment-to-moment gameplay, but the overall game design, it just felt like just the same old familiar Assassin's Creed, modern Assassin's Creed formula. When I played the game, when I went hands-on during Ubisoft's remote preview event, it gave me the impression that if you're not a fan of modern Assassin's Creed, this is not going to be the game that converts you. But if you are a fan of modern Assassin's Creed, then it's just more of that with some refinements and improvements here and there. So if you are into modern Assassin's Creed, Shadows might be right up your alley. But so far, it's starting to feel like Shadows is kind of overall same old, and the mechanical improvements just aren't enough to persuade me unless the final game, when I play it in its entirety, really does something dramatic to make me change my mind on that front. But yeah, I'll wait until I play the final game before I give my impressions. But in the meantime, this is kind of the state of Assassin's Creed Shadows and the unfortunate shenanigans surrounding it. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on the situation, and do you think that these leaks will severely negatively impact Assassin's Creed Shadows' launch and its sales performance, or do you think ultimately that it will still end up selling gangbusters as Assassin's Creed releases tend to do? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.